Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Unrest. My name is Marlo, and when we left off, we had just finished with Bhagwan's storyline, or at least part of it, and we are back to playing as Asha. If you'll recall, Asha is the first character that we played as. She's the princess, and then we played a couple other people, and we went back to her, and she was living in the slums in exile, and now we have come back to Asha yet again. So, let's read through this here. You are Asha. Avinash led Asha to a run-down hideout somewhere in the city. It soon became clear that Avinash wasn't just planning an insurgency. No, the insurgency was already in progress, and people from all parts of the city had flocked to its loyalist banner. He was evidently proud of what he'd created, but he still wouldn't explain to Asha what role she was to play in the coming days, nor would he answer many of her questions. Alright, we have another trait, and that is leader. Those who hate the council will kill or die for Asha. So, let's hit continue here. And of course we have map updates. We're in a derelict mansion. It looks like we'll be in the mansion almost the whole time. So we'll be checking out all these people, of course. Okay, we've looked at our traits. And our journal, okay, the Resistance. Funded by nobles disgusted with Vijay's rule, crewed by disaffected slum dwellers, the Resistance is formed with one goal in mind: to depose the council and to restore Bimra's rightful ruler. And of course, that's us. We are the rightful ruler, at least we are at the moment, playing as Asha. Okay, so we have a lot of people here, a lot of characters, some of which we are already familiar with, some of which we have new entries on. Let's check out the one for Avinash, because I imagine we'll be speaking with him very soon. Avinash has always been a strange one, and the loss of his brother doesn't seem to have helped. It's surprising that he's still alive. How he knew you survived is impossible to guess, but he's determined to put you on the throne. So, alright, we've got a new location here, which is the hideout. How the council hasn't found the place is a minor mystery, but Avinash seems to take it for granted that the building is a completely safe place to plan the council's overthrow. The place is less one unified battle room and more of a place where ideologically aligned and otherwise unsympathetic factions can rest, rearm, and uneasily coexist. So, alright, so this guard here seems to want to talk to us. This loyalist soldier, so let's talk to him. Alright, I can tell you're getting restless. If you don't mind me saying so, Princess, all of us are. We've been preparing the riots that would divert Shyam's men and let us strike the palace for many months. And now that the rightful Queen of Bimra is here, every day spent waiting is painful. I can be calculating and say, Avinash and Kanika have laid out a grand operation for me. I am indebted to them. I can be impressed and say, restless, I suppose, but at the same time, all of this feels quite sudden. I can be gracious and say, I have to admit, I feel a bit redundant. It feels as if the revolution was planned out before I ever arrived. I think I'm going to say number 3. Because, well, that's true. Oh, most of the planning was done by others, but you're the central figure anyway. In fact, there's something for you to do right now. A matter's come up only you can handle. 3 potential supporters of your revolution all came here to speak with Avinash, but we've informed them they'll be speaking with you instead. They are the nobleman Kalyan, the Naga trader Jilesh, and the grain merchant Ramanjit. Doing the best I can with these names, folks. They're throwing some humdingers at me. A bunch of grasping opportunists, if you ask me, but help is help. Diligent. What should I know about them? Give me everything you know. Efficient. Just give me the overview. Who are they and what do they want? Impulsive. Don't tell me anything about them. It'll be a good exercise figuring them out on my own. I think I'll be diligent and ask what I should know. Avinash briefed me, so I'll tell you what he told me. Firstly, Kalyan comes from one of the wealthiest families in Bimra, powerful even now. He's been trying to get on the council for years, but Vijay hasn't gone near him. So Avinash got in touch, and here we are. Frankly, none of us trust him much. We think he might try to seize power after the coup. Crafty. So he thinks he can outsmart me. Maybe I can work with that. Hard. I'll make it clear to him that working with me would be wiser than working against me. Wary. Sounds like the sort of ally we don't need. I think I'll pass on him. I think I'll be crafty and say, so he thinks he can outsmart me. Maybe I can work with that. After all, our character did survive in the slums, you know, on the streets for quite some time. And I think she would have become a lot more crafty and street smart during that time. So let's go with number 1. Maybe I can work with that. Jalesh is pragmatic. He came to Bimra with a cart full of bribe money and he's made every coin of it count. No one touches him, not even Ranveer. And he's become one of the most influential Naga in the city. But his reach ends at the slums. We're not sure what he's offering, but it's probably worth listening to. Diligent. Sounds like a man of business. I'll be sure to treat him as one. Approachable. I'll promise justice for his people. That should pay off. Or hard. A Naga with no connections in the slums sounds like more trouble than he's worth. He better come cheap. I think I'll be diligent and say, he sounds like a man of business. I'll be sure to treat him as one. Finally, Ramanjit, not expecting much from him. He's a grain merchant, and his business has been doing about as well as you'd expect, given the length of this drought and the competition from the Naga Empire. He wouldn't talk much about what he's offering. Wanted to speak to Avinash personally. He was surprised to hear he'd be talking to you instead. Don't worry, we've posted men on him to make sure he doesn't try anything stupid. We know these men won't rat us out to Vijay. We're not letting them leave until our plans are put into action, and we're looking over all communication they send and receive from this building. All the same, take care. You can never be too cautious. Alright, so my journal has updated. Let's take a look. Popular support. Apparently Uncle had lined up 3 potential supporters, an untrustworthy nobleman, a leader of the successful city Naga named Jalesh, and a poor trader named Ramanjit. Might they have something to offer? Might be they have something to offer. In return, they might even ask for something I don't mind giving them. Alright, there's 2 Naga down here, who I don't think are the ones... You're her? I don't know why, but I thought you'd look different. Curious. What do you mean different? Curious. More like a queen? Or wary? Do you really care what I look like? I'll be curious and say, what do you mean different? You just look like a regular human. I thought queens looked different than everyone else. Wary. Are you thinking of royal clothes? That's just things we put on and take off. You can be approachable and say, no, we look just like everyone else. It's what's inside that matters. You can be approachable and say, oh, yeah, no, give it a few years. I'll grow red feathers and sprout an extra pair of royal eyebrows. Be curious and say, do Naga have queens? What do they look like? I think I'll be wary and say, are you thinking of royal clothes? That's just things we put on and take off. I understand how clothes work, human. Never mind. All I keep hearing from Avinash is that you're the one who can stop the violence. What do you say? Do you think you can keep the humans from killing us all? Approachable. Yeah, I think so. If we just fix some problems with the slums, tensions will deflate. Determined. By force if necessary. A firm rule of law is what's needed to keep order. Excuse me. Curious. I'll stop the violence, but that might just mean deporting the Naga. Do you think that would work? Could be skeptical. Honestly, I don't know. I doubt a good solution exists, or my parents would have done it. I could be skeptical and say it's not all one-sided like that. The Naga are as much a problem as the humans. I think I'm going to say number 1. I think so. If we fix some problems with the slums, tensions will deflate. I mean, if there were more resources to go around, right? People wouldn't be, and Naga wouldn't be all up in arms with each other. So, or at least not as much. Maybe. Curious, how many of you would be behind my claim to the throne? I could be determined and say, make no mistake, my main priority is peace. I'll get that one way or the other. Be wary and say, maybe? What's that mean? think I'll be curious and ask about Naga support of my claim to the throne. Well, your parents were not unpopular. Not successful enough to be beloved, but not unpopular. Do right by us, and I think we'll do right by you. Let's talk to this Naga. You know, I've seen you before. I was one of 10 Naga who met with your mother and father after my family and I first came to Bimra. I thought it was a great honor. Back where I come from, I was no one. I thought perhaps here I could make something of myself. Curious. I thought Naga society had much more social mobility than ours. Approachable. Look where we both ended up, huh? Curious. I take it you didn't. How come? I think I'll say number 1, I thought that Naga society had much more social mobility. In theory, any Naga can become anything. In practice, a Naga gets good at being a politician, or a merchant, or a commander. Everyone is happy, and the Naga fills the position until death. That worked fine, until we got better at living to old age. Now we have a lot of Naga, young and old, with nowhere to go. Bimra was fertile ground for a new community. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat meowing. Curious, why didn't it work? Approachable, that explains a lot. Hard, so wait, you wanted to use our city as a colony for your society's rejects? I think I'll be curious and ask for information, like I have been with other characters. That's something for the historians to answer. Let's just say that a lot of opportunities we'd been promised did not manifest. Some of us blame conspiracy, some of us the famine. Some of us are bold enough to suggest we didn't think everything through very well. Frankly, each theory has its merits. The more relevant question is how we're going to get out of this hole, and enough of us think you and Avinash are the answer that I'm risking my life being here. We can be very useful to you, Asha. Please remember that. Okay, so... Alright, here is the nobleman, Kalyan, so why don't we talk to him? Princess, I never gave up hope that you were out there somewhere. It is the grandest honor of my life to meet you, and it will be a grander honor still to serve you. I could be approachable and say I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. It could be hard and say, why don't you skip straight to what you want from me? I could be naive and say, I'm sorry, which one were you? It's so hard for me to keep all the names straight. I think I'll be approachable. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. I know you're busy, so I won't waste your time. After all, you've got an army to manage, schedules to coordinate, a downtrodden populace to inspire. So many burdens for a person so young. I imagine on days like this, you wish your parents were alive. Approachable. So what have you come to propose, Kalyan? I could be naive and say, oh yes, my life since then has been a constant search for people I can trust. I could be wary and say, well, you're definitely not wasting my time. You just told me everything about you I needed to know. I think for the moment I'll still be approachable and ask him what he comes to propose. I wish to offer you a gift of 20 of my soldiers. They're fine, well-trained, hardened men, and each one will defend you until his final breath. They specialize in personal protection. In all my years, none of my enemies have come close to harming me. Let's see. I could be approachable and say I'd be happy to accept. The more men I have, the better equipped I'll be. I could be cautious and say, no thanks, I don't wish to cast aspersions, but I can't trust men I don't know. I could be hard and say, so what you're saying is you're planning to assassinate me. Which, you know, doesn't sound too far-fetched. After all, it's not like that didn't happen to my parents. But I think I'll say, no thanks, I don't wish to cast aspersions, but I can't trust men I don't know. Ah, very wise, but I can assure you that my men are loyal and steadfast. Alright, all the same, I could be stern and say, all the same I must decline, do me the courtesy of accepting my refusal gracefully. I can be approachable and say, I suppose I can't afford to turn away good soldiers. Very well, I'll have them. I can be hard and say, let's put that to the test. You there, if you kill your master and join me, I'll make you rich. This is not a joke. Well, okay. That's kind of the Darth Vader answer, I think. I think that we'll go with all the same I must decline. Do me the courtesy of accepting my refusal. I just don't feel right about surrounding myself with a bunch of guys with weapons who are the soldiers of a extremely wealthy man who probably pays them quite well, or is able to pay them quite well, to do exactly what he wants them to do. He sputters, fumes, then after studying your face for a moment, falls silent. There's nothing more for him to say. Alright, let's check out our... Okay, I graciously turned down Kalyan's offer of 20 men. Kalyan might be the least trustworthy man I've ever met, and that's so depressing I don't even want to think about it. Alright, we got something in our inventory. A crown, a symbol of power over the kingdom. Your parents often entrusted it to you. Avinash managed to keep it with him during his escape. It has finally returned to you, the rightful owner. And a bangle. A royal family heirloom has been passed from one generation of Bimra's queen to the next. You managed to hide this bangle while hiding in the slums. Now you can wear it again. Okay. Now there are others that we need to speak to, of course. Oh, there's a bookshelf here. That's interesting. Let's click on the bookshelf. This shelf is tightly packed, a wall of books on numerous subjects. Avinash has clearly assembled quite a collection. A few titles stand out to you immediately. 1. A survey of serpentine reproductive anatomy, advancements in herbs and medicine, thoughts on theories of chaos, and fishing in small creeks. I'm going to look at thoughts and theories of chaos. I mean, that certainly seems the situation that our society has fallen into, doesn't it? You take thoughts and theories of chaos from the shelf. Okay, let's leave for a moment and check our journal and check our history section. Okay, here we go. And in the throes of uncertainty and turmoil, the enlightened man finds one comfort, that all this was inevitable. Interesting. If any of you are familiar with Buddhism and other, I think it's Buddhism. I'm sure somebody's going to call me out on this, but there are some Eastern philosophies that consider that entropy or chaos in some ways is unavoidable, and that the best thing that you can do is to kind of move with it instead of against it. I'm paraphrasing all that badly, but it's interesting. All right, a survey of serpentine reproductive anatomy. All right, we take it from the shelf. We're going to take all these books from the shelf, and then we'll just read them here in a moment. Okay, here we go. Fishing in small creeks. There's a sublime beauty to earning one meal at a time that all men should experience. Advanced herbs and medicine. Entire realms such as those south and east of the Naga-controlled forest must trade dearly for medicines that to our people are commonplace. Serpentine reproductive anatomy. Needless to say, this material is not only profoundly disturbing, but illustrative of what factors make the Naga so monstrous to behold. Okay, well that's nice. Alright, let's talk to the historian. If we can. Okay, here we go. Oh, Princess, yes please, if you will kindly indulge me. I'm going to need to ask you some questions soon. I'm getting your history together. Wary, what for? Approachable, yes of course, I'd be pleased to. Hard, in preparation for an armed revolution, it seems like learning to use a knife would be more useful. I'll be approachable and say, yes of course, I'd be pleased to. Thank you. And Princess Asha, this is an honor and a pleasure. It truly is. Alright. No need to not be gracious when we can. Let's talk to this lady. She's not one of the three that we're supposed to speak to, but she's here. Oh, poor dear. I was afraid we'd find you in this state. Well, even fine jewelry needs a bit of cleaning up every now and then, doesn't it? And hot blood scrubs better than anything. Let me tell you that. Curious. Yeah, Huh? Curious. What? Okay, I think I'll say, what? I mean, ever since those traitors killed the king and the queen of this great city, my family's starved to death and my streets have been taken over by the Naga. So if there's anything keeping you, the rightful queen of this city, from bringing my family back and driving those Naga out, well, I'll be happy to carve them open, let me tell you. can be hard, but I can't bring your family back. No one can. I think I'll be wary and say, I think I'd better be getting on with things. Yes, I suppose you're going to be very busy. Well, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Yeah, so everybody here, you know, it's not necessarily one big happy family. Right now, we are united by the fact that, you know, we all don't like the council, but that's about it. I mean, other than that, we're going to have some widely differing viewpoints, it would seem to me. Kanika. Let's check her journal entry if she has one. Your parents' former advisor, a former priestess, now leader of a rebellious faction of violent slum dwellers. Her conviction is inescapable. Alright, here's the one entry for Kalyan. Kalyan's mercenary bands are well known for being sharp, well-trained, and unafraid of danger, once acquired. Okay. Asha, I can't tell you what it's like to see you again. It's like I found a piece of the old days, before Vijay destroyed everything and drove Bimra into the dirt. None of us can wait to take him from the throne. I can be hard and say, believe me, it's all I've been waiting for. I can be disgusted. It wasn't enough for him to seize power. He had to raise up Shyam, Laxmi, and Ranveer as well. I could be gracious and say, you really think I'll be able to make things better? I think I'll be gracious and ask if she thinks I'll be able to help the situation. You are the true queen of Bimra. You couldn't help but save this city. From where I sit, if all you did upon recovering the throne was destroy Ranveer and his minions, that would have been a reign well executed. Hard, that at least I can promise you. Educating. Ranveer and the others will answer for what they've done, but I'm going to do this as cleanly as possible. To be understanding, I don't blame the people who follow him. Not all of them have a choice. You know, if it wasn't for Ranveer's bread, I honestly don't know if I'd be alive. I'm going to say I don't blame the people who follow him. Not all of them have a choice. They always have a choice. Even when one's choices are serving an evil master or death, those are choices, and death is the correct one. Do not tell me the easy path is the only one. To fix Bimra, you will need to destroy those responsible for its downfall. That these are the ones who murdered your parents or condone their betrayal makes justice that much sweeter. Okay. My uncle clearly never doubted I was alive. All this planning, all these conspirators might have gone to waste if he didn't have a figure like me to rally everyone around. He didn't have time to discuss the specifics of whatever his plan is, but this much is clear. It's not going to be a peaceful coup. Alright, let's continue our tour of the grounds here. Let's speak to Sharada. I'm Sharada. I make my living by trading volumes between Bimra and the cities as far out as Taxila, and this is not what you're interested in talking about, is it? I'm sorry. It's been so long since I've had a conversation with a person of high birth that wasn't insufferably boring. I could be cautious and say after a year of being out there, let me tell you, boring is good. I craved boring. I could be hard and say yes, and now that I have a chance of getting the throne back, we don't have time for it. I could be approachable and say it's good to make your acquaintance. I think I'll be polite. I see no reason not to be. I'm certainly glad to meet you. I've been putting all of my wealth into this little endeavor of Avanash's. It's good to know what I've been spending it on. I could be wary and say, so why have you supported him? I could be speculative and say, naturally I appreciate it. I could be hard and say, you realize this was a tremendous risk, don't you? I'm going to be wary and say, why have you supported him? And hopefully she'll tell us some more. I don't know. Why don't you guess? I could be irritated and say, you must owe Avinash something. I could be irritated and say, loyalty to my parents, perhaps. I could be irritated and say, monetary compensation. I could be irritated and say, the thrill of it. I could be imperious and say, I don't want to guess, I'm your queen, just tell me. I could be irritated. I'm going to say loyalty to my parents, perhaps. No, I'm sorry, that's not it at all, and I'm sorry to say that loyalty to them isn't something a lot of people feel anymore. Let's face it, being part of an uprising is fun. Chaos and change are always more interesting than the status quo, even when the status quo is all that's keeping things together. Who was I going to support? Vijay, who is unlikable but safe, or the sweet young underdog princess? Now that's a chapter of history I want to be a part of. Good luck, by the way. That's interesting. Alright, here's Avinash. So I'm going to try to talk to him. Although, well, let's just see what happens. There's no turning back now, Asha. We've a number of petitioners from all over the city eager to see what you're capable of. Would you see them and their needs or press onward? I'll speak to them first. Yeah, okay. I kind of thought something like that might happen. So, okay, here's the next one. Ramanjit. He was one of the people we were supposed to talk to. So let's talk to him. Princess, it really is you. I can't believe it. I'm your humblest of subjects. You have my everlasting gratitude for deigning to speak with me. I could be diligent and say you came with a request, did you not? It'd be hard and say that will last for as long as you seem useful to me. Start talking. I could be approachable and say I'm happy to help however I can. What's the matter? I think I'll be diligent and say you came with a request, did you not? Princess, I know how terrible things are in these slums. That's why I do everything I can to help them. I supply several local traders with foodstuffs and essential goods in exchange for whatever they have to barter with. I'm not proud to trade beyond my caste, but I perform a necessary service, and I am rewarded for it. Wary, the only local traders are the black market, so you're their supplier. I can be approachable and say you've probably kept a lot of people alive doing that. Be hard and say just skip to what you want already, or I could be silent. Well, you know, at the black market, yeah, but I think we've seen how they are actually making things better, at least for some of the people in the slums. So let's say you probably kept a lot of people alive doing that, because that's probably true. I mean, it might be in a less than savory fashion, but I think it's probably true. So we'll say you've probably kept a lot of people alive doing that. I won't lie. I want to be a regular merchant again. My contacts have been pressuring me as of late, and I think I'd prefer some more genteel trading partners. What I want is a guarantee I'll have work once you're in power. Cautious, and in exchange, be diligent and say keep talking, or be wary and say no, I don't think so. Let's be diligent and say keep talking. In exchange, I'm also responsible for delivering meals to Jaydeep's men on occasion. I happen to know you're going to use riots to dry out Shyam's boys. Well, they're just waiting for riots to happen so they can steer them against the Naga. I deliver food to him every day. It'd be an easy matter to slip something into his men's food at the right moment. You're not going to get another chance like this. You have to know that. You have to. That's interesting. You can be hard and say, I think we have a deal. You can be polite and say, too dangerous. They keep Ranveer's peace, but they keep peace. Something we'll need again. You can be hard and say, no, and what's more, you're not leaving this building. I'm really torn. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to take the offer, honestly. Is it a good guy thing to do? Not necessarily. But on the other hand, I mean, we're the underdogs. We need every opportunity we can get. You know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to say I think we have a deal. It's not an easy choice, but I'm going to say I think we have a deal. You won't regret this. We'll see. Calculating. Asha evens the odds however she may. Well, we don't have much... Well, we have a choice, but if we want to win, and I think Asha would want to win. She would want to take the throne. She is, after all, the rightful heir, and has every right to, under the culture that these people live in. And plus, these people who rule the place right now did kill her parents. I mean, wouldn't she want to go all Batman on them or something? All right. I decided this city could use fewer of Jaydeep's slum thugs. They never did me wrong, but one thing I learned surviving in the slums is that's no good reason to hold back. There's a loyalist soldier. There's Jalesh. And we do need to talk to them, but let's see who's in here. Here's a hooded man. Keep back, little girl. These mixtures are dangerous. Oh, gosh. The city's forgotten half of what it knew about medicine and misremembered the rest. No wonder sickness is rampant. And there's a captain in here. Let's talk to him. Kanika says you're the real thing. All along I was wondering why it was taking so long for Avinash to find an urchin who looked right, and it turns out the crazy bastard had been looking for the actual princess. Wary, sounds like you don't agree. He found me, didn't he? You already sound like somebody I won't like. Why don't I be approachable and say he found me, didn't he? Damn waste of time, if you ask me. You've been rooting in filth for years now. Not like there's much difference between you and any other gutter rat. Determined, there is. Trust me. Approachable, maybe not. Or hard. You know, it's been a long time since I had soldiers, but I bet I could still have you killed. Let's be determined and say there is. Trust me. Well, Avinash seems to think you sweat fine wine. He wants to drink a cup of it. That's fine with me. I think you'll be as welcome on this city's throne as a dog dropping. Be hard in saying, what would you know about that? I could be wary and say, I think I'm going to find someone else to talk to, or I could be curious and say, why are you even here? I think I'm going to ask this question. You know all those big mean bastards carrying weapons around the city? I'll be wary and say I know of them, yeah. I like killing them. Avinash said this was a good trade for a growing lad with my potential, so if you'll be so good, let Avinash know I'm starting to get bored again. Okay, so he is a soldier. That is what the man does. Alright, let's talk to these people. I feel like we've met these people before. Do we have... No journal entry on them, but I feel like we met these people before. Perhaps when we were the Naga diplomat at the beginning of the game. Adil, welcome back to decent company. With any luck, you'll never have to set foot in those slum streets again. That could be hard. We're in the slums right now. Are you planning to carry me out? Wary, something about saying with any luck doesn't scream confidence. I think that's what I'm going to say. You know what I meant. This has been a long nightmare for all of us, you know. I would have given anything not to put my wife through this. Hard, how has this been bad for you? You're still a landowner. I could be curious and say I'm missing something. I could be skeptical. You look pretty well scrubbed for someone who's been through a long nightmare. I think I'll be curious and say I'm missing something. There was a riot on our lands. 15 peasants and 2 of our guards, dead in an hour. We'd barely put up the funeral pyres before Vijay's men rode up and told us that they were giving our land to some up-jumped widow, like she could do a better job than we could. We'd been living with relatives in the city ever since. It's how Vijay does business. If you can't improve things, change faces. Approachable, sorry to hear about that. Hard, 15 peasants dead and 2 guards dead? Sounds to me like you failed your job. Hard, yeah, that sounds a lot like how things have been for me, starving to death in this pit of disease and murder. I think I'll be approachable and say it's how VJ does business. If you can't improve things, change faces. The point is that I didn't deserve this. Neither did Kanika, and neither did you. The slums think just because we're at the top, everything that goes wrong in their lives is our responsibility. And VJ, the vicious fool, has seized power on that lie. I say it's time we got what's ours back. Let's talk to Madhu, whatever how you say this, I'm not really sure. I still don't know exactly how it is we're supposed to help. We've been helping the historian with his notes, and we've been bringing over what jewelry and money we've been able to save. But, well, I wish we could just wait with our relatives until you've taken power and it's our turn to help out. I don't feel very safe here. It could be hard and say, you're not very safe anywhere. I'd get used to that. I'd be wary and say, if you've got somewhere else to stay, I'd go there. Things will get worse before they get better. Determined. You're going to want to have been here. Whatever happens, however bad things get, you'll have seen it firsthand. I think that's what I'll say. I mean, I'm the leader, right? So I should be rallying the troops, even though she's not really a troop, but, you know, you get what I mean. But I don't want to see it firsthand. What does that have to do with anything? Your family never waded out into the filth and despair. They had more decency than that. One must rule from above the fog of misery. That's a quote my husband is fond of. Why did things have to come to this? I could be hard and say sorry to hear that. I could be determined and say because hundreds of people were starving to death. I could be approachable and say try to keep your spirits up. Things will get better. I promise. I think I'll be approachable in this instance and try to be encouraging. If there's anything I can do, let me know, but I just feel so helpless. Ever since they started rising up in the first place, I've felt helpless. What could we have done differently? What could anyone have done? Alright, now we need to talk to Jalesh. Is the last of the merchants that we need to speak to. And we have a journal entry, a failed merchant of some description. That's all anyone knows. Okay, Jalesh, a Naga of some standing in the city proper. It's a wonder he didn't remain in Bimra. Alright, let's speak to him. It's always a good sign when I'm referred directly to the person in charge. It's good to make your acquaintance, Queen Asha. To be polite and say, and to make yours, compassionate. Having come from the slums, I'd like to profess profound sympathy for the pain your people suffer in this city. To be hard and say, let's not waste time. What are you offering and what do you want? I'm going to be compassionate and say that we have sympathy for the pain that his people have suffered. Yes, thanks. Now let's get to business, shall we? What I'm offering you is the support of the city Naga all the way up to Councillor Rhea. In exchange from you, I'll need assurance that you'll give a short list of Naga candidates in the city and slums good influential positions in the city structure once you've taken power. Are we agreed? Let's see. Okay, our choices are we can be compassionate and say we need more Naga in government. That's an allowance I'll be happy to make. I can be cautious and say that's quite a request. Can I see some guarantee of their qualifications? Or I can be wary and say, while I understand your position, I can't offer you that kind of guarantee. I think I'm going to be cautious and say, can I see some guarantee of their qualifications? After all, Jalesh is supposedly a businessman. And so let's be businesslike with him, and that may lead to positive results. I'm afraid not, as they have left many of their successes behind them in the Naga Empire. Any direct recommendations would come from their friends and family members in the city, and if you won't trust me, I doubt you'd trust them. Let's see. Approachable. So you're trying to keep your connections happy. I understand. Yes, I accept. I can be wary and say I don't think I'm going to be going through with this deal. Or I can be diligent and say everything you're promising me would come after I'm in power. So we'll talk after I'm in power. I have to say I'm awfully tempted by to choose this last response. I mean, the support of the Naga may be important, and we may need all the support we can get. But at the same time, yep, I think that's what we're going to choose. Everything you're promising me would come after I'm in power. And after all, that's true. We can't give him anything if we don't take the throne. Fair enough. We'll speak again. Alright, our journal has updated. I suspect it's one of our quests. Popular support. Jalesh and I didn't end up coming to an accord. Assuming I survive any of this, I have a feeling I haven't seen the last of him. Okay. Alright, let's talk to Avinash, because I think we have spoken to basically everybody here. So let's see what he has to say. Well, we got to get awfully close to him, apparently. Are you prepared for what's to come? I'm going to say, yes, I am. Very well. Asha, it's nearly time. Our people in the slums are ready to spark chaos at a moment's notice. As soon as our spies report Shyam's men have cleared from their garrisons in the palace courtyard and mobilized to respond, then we'll strike the palace directly. Then everything will fall to you. It'll be hard and say Vijay's entire ruling council should be there. Good. It'll be insecure and say, Uncle, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. And I can be wary and say, all going well anyway. I'm going to be I think our character would be a little overwhelmed at this point. Even though we've put on a brave face with our uncle, we might be willing to be a little more honest. I think our character would be a little bit more honest, and I think, after all, even though she's been through some rough stuff, she's still a child in many ways. Say, Uncle, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. I know, but the world moves quickly. You can't stop to think about the ask at hand, or else your opportunities will escape. Your heart knows what must be done. Trust your heart. Let it act for you. Exasperated. Then my heart tells me to become queen. Wary, but this plan, if we fail, the riots we start might just destroy Bimra. Sympathetic. My heart tells me nothing about inciting innocent people to violence. I'm going to be wary and say, but this plan, if we fail, the riots we start might just destroy Bimra. I won't lie to you, Asha. The unrest will spread beyond what we can shut down or control. There will be chaos tonight, but all that chaos is in service of a greater purpose. Tonight cannot end with the usurper Vijay in power and the true ruler Asha wasting away in the slums. For a year, Shyam has used his vast military force to act as guards for the wealthy and safe, and jailers for the downtrodden. Now we'll turn his cowardice and greed against him, and then your parents and the slums will have their revenge. Alright, preparations are carried out with silent intensity. Soldiers gather their weapons, slum dwellers lay out bandages for the wounded, nobles summon final deliveries of weapons and equipment. Sham's men will be drawn as far as possible from the palace, then the resistance will begin in earnest. Okay, our traits have not changed, and we're going to hit continue. Alright, we're loading. Still loading. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to be playing as a new character that we have not played as before. But that's going to have to wait until next time. I know this video was perhaps a little bit shorter than the videos usually are, but it's pretty late my time. I quite frankly have to get up and go to work in the morning. So, we'll cut it a little bit shorter here, but more videos will come very quickly. I can assure you of that. I'm really enjoying this game, and I can't wait to see what happens next in the story. So until then, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well, and I'll see you in the next one.